Yes, guys. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So now I will go for the programmatical approach. How we can just simply create the array programmatically. How it will be get stored in the memory.
लागते का नवरा का फोन ऐक ना सायलेंट
Go on mute. Go on mute. Okay. So we have to follow some steps. We have to follow some steps of using array. Steps of using a array we can say. And see, all steps are for all the arrays. So these steps are not only for the one dimensional. There is little change that I will show you, but every array we must go with the following steps. So for step one, what is the step one? We have to go for the declaration of array. We have to go for declaration of array. Until and unless I have not declared the array, we can't use that one. We can't use that one. So if I have to declare the array, if I have to declare the array, then how we can write the code for that? How we can write the code for that? So very simply, we just have to write, we just have to write a data type. Here I can say, here I need to specify the data type. That means what? Which type of elements? Which type of elements I have to store in the array? Okay. Then I can just specify here array name. Array name. It is the valid identifier we guys have to put. So here array name, and then here is your this one bracket. Okay, and the semicolon. Data type, array name, and here a bracket like this one. So for example, see, I just want to write like this one. I just want to write like this one. I just want to write like this one. Data type is int. Array name I can say num. Okay, and here a empty bracket like this. So what it is saying that it is simply saying that num is a array. Num is a array which will store the integer type of elements. Which will store a integer type of elements. Which will store simply the integer type of elements I can say. Integer type of element. Okay, or I can just write here a data type as a string. I can just write a data type as a string, and I can just put a names in that. Names. Okay, and I can just create like this. So this is what the for the one dimensional. If two dimensional array is there, we have to write this one bracket. If three dimensional, then we have to write a three. Four dimensional like this one. So it is what exactly the difference here. Okay, we'll see later. But here we can just specify this bracket, int num bracket, string name bracket. But remember, when we are writing like this one, actual memory is not allocated to store the element. Shweta, please go on mute. Here, memory is not allocated. Memory is not allocated. Memory is not allocated to store elements. To store elements. Then what it is doing here? It's simply creating a. It's simply creating a array variable. It's simply creating a array variable. That is what we are saying. So it simply create the array variable but not allocate the memory. Not allocate the memory. I will show you how it will be. Okay, so it simply like for example, see, again I just go to the pen. Okay, in that one in that one, assume like I have provided the declaration like this one, integer, number, and then we have provided the bracket. We have provided the bracket. So this is what we call it as the declaration. Okay, this is what we call it as the declaration. So you guys know that exactly memory sections, there are different memory sections. Important one which we need is what? There is one, we call it as a stack. Okay, and there is another one we need, that is what the heap memory. We need a heap. Heap is more dynamic in nature. Heap is more dynamic in nature. That means what? The memory which has been allocated by using a new, it will allocate in the heap. It will allocate in the heap. So as we have written integer num of array, what it will do? Inside the stack somewhere else, it will create one block. It will create one block, and the name of that block is a num. Name of that block is a, I can simply say here, it is the num. Okay, but in that one we have not stored any value. It is not created to store the value. It is used to store the reference. That means what? Num is of type integer array. Num is of type, or num is array of type integer. So which is used to hold the reference of integer array. So that is what it is creating. So whenever we write like this one, whenever we go for the declaration, it will not allocate memory to store the element. It's simply creating the array variable, and memory for that one is allocated in the stack. You guys can see like this. Okay, next step is what? Second step I can say, memory allocation. So in this, actually the memory allocation is done, it's done by using new. It's done by using a new. How? So for example, syntax for that one is, we just have to write array name. Okay, here we don't need to put a bracket, array name, new, and here inside that we have to specify the data type. Okay, after that one we just have to go with this, and we have to provide the size with the integer value. How many elements or how many block you have to allocate, how many elements you want to store with this particular type. Accordingly it will go there and it will allocate the memory. So for example, see, we have created the array name as a num is equals to new, and a data type is what? Integer. Okay, there we can specify the bracket size as a 5. Here what it is saying, that simply allocate memory for 5 elements with the integer type. Allocate memory for 5 elements with the integer type. So as we are using the new, it will allocate memory in the heap, and whatever the memory is been allocated, reference of that one will be get assigned to num. Reference of that one will be get assigned to num. This will be like this one. Or for the names, like this one, names is equals to new. What is the data type? Data type we have put it as a string, and then inside the bracket I can specify here a size as a 3. I can specify the size. That means what? It will allocate 3 blocks for storing the string. Okay, and if memory is allocated, it will assign over here. So for example, see, I can simply write this one, Control C. I just go here. Okay, as this is what we have done, Control V, I'm writing num is equal to new int. Num is equal to new int. What it will do? It will goes here in the heap somewhere else. As we have put it the 5 blocks, it will allocate memory for 5 blocks. That is what? 1, here a 2, here a 3, here a 4, and a 5. Okay, it will create like this one. Then this is the index, that is the 0. Okay, this is the 0. Then it is the 1, it is the 2, it is the 3. Okay, it is the 4th one, like this. Okay, if such a kind of memory is been allocated in the heap, reference of that one will be get assigned to num. Reference of that one will be get assigned to num. So it is now pointing to this. It is now pointing to this one. So in this way, memory is get allocated. So if we are not understanding this one, it will be very difficult to understand the garbage collection mechanism. So that is the reason actually I am just splitting it with the two, int num array and num is equal to new int 5. So that in this way, in this only this one block will be get created. And when I'm writing new int of 5, here actually the block will be get created. No doubt the blocks are empty. Blocks are empty. There is no any element in that one. Okay, exactly same way, exactly same way. If you guys have created the variable like this one string name, it is the empty. Control C. I can say here. Okay, here is your block. Control V. Okay, for the name, and there itself we can write like this. We have created the three blocks. Control C, Control V. Okay, like this. So this is in this way I'm just trying to create a, so you can see somewhere else it will create one block like this one. Okay, name of that block will be a simply names. Okay, because it is going to store the students names, we can say. Okay, then somewhere else it will allocate the blocks like this one. Okay, then in that one as size is specified as a 3, so it will allocate the block like 1, 2 and a 3 like this one. Okay, indexes for this one are 0. Okay, 0. Okay, then it is the 1. Okay, and then it is the second of like this one. And if memory is get successfully allocated, reference of this memory will be get assigned to here. So now names will be get pointing to this one. Okay, name will be get pointing to this one and num will be get pointing to this one. So this is how exactly the memory is being get allocated. Clear, guys? Yes. Yes, clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So see, as I just declare the array and then memory allocation for that array. Okay. The above two steps can be done in a single step. The above two steps, step one, I can say one and second step can be done, together, we can say together. So that is, we call it as the declaration with the memory allocation. Declaration with the memory allocation, we can say declaration with the memory allocation. So in this we can simply see here the syntax will be same. Data type. Okay, then we can just specify the array name. Okay, then here we have to provide the bracket is equals to new. Okay, then in that one we have to specify the data type. Okay, and then out of this one we just have to specify the size. So about two steps we are doing in the single step. Okay, for example, just integer num, okay, of array is equals to new. Okay, it is equal to new integer. Okay, and then inside the bracket we can just specify the 5 and it will allocate the 5 blocks. Or in the case of a string, I can just write a string names is equals to names array is equals to new. Okay, then data type is nothing but the string. Okay, and then inside the bracket I can just specify the 3. Okay, and it will allocate the like this one. So see, new string, it will allocate the memory in the heap, and here it will allocate in the stack, and reference of that one will be get assigned to 3. Here too it will allocate the 5 blocks for the integer. Here it will create single block to store the reference in the stack, and reference of that one will be get assigned to the num. So about two steps, declaration with the memory allocation, we can do together. So that is what we call it as the declaration with the memory allocation. So here actually the picture will be same. In the declaration with the memory allocation, there is no any change at all. Now what I can do, just the next step I can say step 3. Okay, step 3 I can say. Step 3, accessing elements of array. So how you are going to access the elements of array? How we are going to access the elements of array? So to access elements of array, we have to use array name with the index we can say. So for example, just array name bracket. Okay, in that one we have to just specify the index. Is equals to, I can specify the value over here. So for example, name of array is num. Inside the bracket, I can just specify 0. Num of 0 is equals to 10. Num of 0 is equal to 10. Num of 1 is equals to 20. Num of 2 is equals to 30. Num of 3 is equals to 40. Okay, and num of, we can say num of 5, sorry, not 5, 4. Num of 4 is equals to, I can say 50. So in this way I can store the elements. Num of 0, num of 1, num of 2, num of 3, num of 4, like this one. So in the picture, if you observe, num of 0 is nothing but this place. Num of 0 is nothing but this. So I can just assign here a 10. Num of 10. Num of 0. Okay, then I can write here, I can write the num of 1, that is what the 20. Then num of 2, that is what the 30. Num of 3, that is what the 40. Okay, and then the num of 4 is nothing but 50, like this one I can assign. Okay, like this one I can assign. So num of 0, num of 1, num of 2, num of 3, num of 4, like this one. So I can assign this one. If I want to assign like for this one, stringer, here too I can just specify a name of, or names of 0. Okay, is equals to, I can just specify, because it is the string. So I can just specify RAM. So here we have stored like the names of 0 as a RAM. So if you assign like this one, here it will store the RAM. Okay, then I can write here names of 1 is equals to in double quotation, I can just specify the sham. And then semicolon. That means what? Names of the 1th location, it will simply store a sham. Similarly, I can write here names of 2 is equals to in the double quotation, we can specify the jam. Okay, so as we have put it like this one, here somewhere else it will store the jam value like this. So this is how we can access the elements. But if we write like this one, see, names of, and I just put it a 3. And is equals to, I just want to store the Tom. Like this one. What it will do? That our names of array is with a 3 element. So index will be 0, 1, 2. So third will be here somewhere else. Okay, and it is not a part of a name array. So if such a kind of a thing will be get happen, it throws exception. It throws exception. It throws exception. Exception is nothing but a error. Exception is nothing but a error. So that means what, in a Java, you can't access the element from out of bound. You can't access the elements out of a bound. Your boundary will be get decided from 0 to 2 because we have specified the size as 3. Even for this one, 10, 20, 30, 40, if someone tries to write like this one, num of, what num of, assume like a 5. Okay, num of a 5 is equals to, someone is putting a 60. Someone is putting a 60. So in this case, it will throw the exception. Exception is nothing but error. Which one error? The error is array. Array index out of bounds. Array index out of bounds exception, we can say. This is one kind of error. This is the one kind of error in Java. It is the one kind of error in a Java. Array index out of bounds exception. Array index out of bound exception. So we should not try to access the elements from out of array. So for example, if you tries to write a num of 5 is equals to 60, it simply throws exception. It throws exception. That is, we call it as the error. Which one error? That is, it throws array index out of bounds exception. That simply says that you are trying to access element. You are trying to access element from out of, what I'm saying, out of array, and it's not allowed. And it's not allowed in Java. In C, C++, it was giving the garbage value. In C, C++, it was giving the garbage value. But in Java, it will not allow you to access the elements from out of array. It will not allow you to access the element from out of array. Clear, guys? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, but as here I'm just putting a num of 0, num of 1, num of 2, num of 3, num of 4, like this one. As I do have only size as a 5. As I do have the size as a 5, so it's okay. It's okay that I'm using like this one. But assume like I do have the hundreds of elements. Assume I do have the thousands of elements. In that case, it's not good practice actually. It's not good practice to access this one. Even it is not feasible. That how can I write num of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 100 or 1000 like that one. So for that one, to access the element, we can use loop. We can use loop. So using loop control statements to access elements of array, we can say. So loop, that means you can use for loop, you can use while loop, you can use do while loop, okay, or you can use for each, anything you can use, but more preferable is what? For loop. So we always use the for loop like this one. For, okay, I can write like this one, integer I is equals to 0. It is starting from 0, so I have put it. I is less than array dot size. So array name is num dot size. How you can get? We can get like this one, length array dot num dot length. That means what? Total number of elements. And then I can write I plus plus. So here actually size is nothing but the total number of elements in array. So as I do have the 5 elements, so length will be a 5. So less than we have put it, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 4 it will goes. As it becomes a 5, it will comes out of loop. And there I can simply write a system.out.println. Inside the bracket, I can write a num of I. I can write a num of a I. So see how it will be get executed. As value of I is initial value of I is 0. Is it 0 less than num dot length, that is 5? Is it 0 less than 5? Yes, true. So it will go here num of 0. What is num of 0? What is num of 0? So in the output section, simply what it will do, it will display the value as a 10. Then as we have again, like we have just I will be get incremented. It becomes 0 to 1. Is it 1 less than 5? True. So num of 1, that is what the 20. Then again, because of this closing bracket, execution control goes to the I plus plus. It becomes 2. Is it 2 less than 5? True. So num of 2 is nothing but the 30. Num of 2 is nothing but the 30. Again, because of this closing bracket, execution control goes here. I plus plus, it becomes 3. 3 less than 5, true. Num of 3 is nothing but the 40. Okay, again it goes here, I plus plus, it becomes 4. Is it a 4 less than 5? True. So num of 4, that is what we can say, it is the 50. Okay, again it goes here, I plus plus, now it becomes 5. Is it a 5 less than 5? So condition is false. Condition is false. Execution control comes out of this loop. So you can access the element, you can store the elements by using this for loop. This is what the one kind of a for loop we can say. This is what the one kind of a for loop. Same thing we can achieve like this one. It is one kind of for each, or for we can say, see, I can write a for, okay, in a bracket. See, in this one, what are the types of elements? That is what the integer. So I can write integer value, and I can just specify colon over here. Okay, and then I can give the array name. What is the array name? Num. Okay, and then bracket complete like this. For int value colon num. Here no need to initialize, no need to increment. It will internally manage. It will internally manage. So when execution control comes, first value will comes over here in the value, second time, the third time, fourth. So it will be continuously looped like this one. So if I display like this one, system.out.println inside the bracket, I can just try to display the value. Okay. So if I'm writing like this one, first time it will display the 10, then 20, then 30, then 40, then 50 like this one. So in this case, we don't need to increment, we don't need to initialize nothing. Internally, it will be get managed by using this formula. Here, guys, getting this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is what the one step like this one. Then I can just show you the last step of the array. Last step of array. That is what we can say. Declaration with initialization. Declaration with the initialization of array. Declaration with the initialization of array. So here actually in this step, we can simply write like this one. So here in this one, I can just specify the data type. Then we have to specify the array name. Okay, here we have to specify the bracket. No need to give the size. Okay, and here in the curly bracket, we have to write 10, 20, sorry, it will, I will write like this one. Value 1, value 2, value 3, okay, value 4, okay, dash like this one, and then I can specify. So even though that next memory allocation step we don't need to do, internally it will manage that one. It will manage like that one. So for example, here integer num of array is equals to and inside here the bracket I can specify 10, comma 20, comma 30, comma 40 like this one. And through these values actually, through these values, it will going to understand that, okay, I have to create the array with the four blocks, or I have to create the array to store the four values. I have to create array with the store four values over here. If I write like this one, names, string names is okay, string names array is equals to, and then I can just specify over here. Ram, okay, then I can just specify here Sham, okay, then I can just specify here okay, Jam, okay, right, like this one. So here there will be a comma, okay, and then finally I can just specify this one. So in this way too, we can create the array and assign the elements to it. We can create the array and assigns the elements to it. Yes, clear guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So let me show you this in the Eclipse. I just trying to open the Eclipse. Just wait for few minutes. It will be get launched. Okay. So I just close this. And you can see here in the demo project in the SRC, I will create a package. I will create a new package over here. New. Okay, package. Okay, and I will write here icons dot my array. Icons dot my array. That means that I will store all the array elements in that one. So this is my package. Now I can create here new class. Okay, test my array. I can create any. I just have given here, and I want main in this one. Test my array like this. Okay, so this is my class I have created. Now I want to just go for the steps of the array. So very simply, I can just write a integer num of okay array. See, this is what the declaration I have. Okay, now if I done like this one and directly try to like this one, sys out. Okay, I just try to write. I have not created any array. Okay, and I just try to display the num of 0. See here, I just try to display the num of 0. I have not created the array. Still I am trying to access it. Just here. Okay, like this one. And you can see here it is just what it is, the local variable num may not have been initialized. That means what, just declaration is not enough. Declaration is not enough like this one. So we have to allocate the memory. So here I just write the num is equals to new. And in the data type as an integer, and here I can specify the size as a 5. I can just specify the size as a 5. So this is what the declaration. This is what a declaration, and this is what we can say it is the memory allocation. Like this one. So I have declared and I have allocated the memory. You can see now it is not showing any error over here, but I have not assigned any value. I just try to execute this one. I just try to execute this one, and you can see here. Okay, I have to save this. Okay, error exists, proceed. Where is the error? Okay, so it is giving the value as a 0. Num of 0, default value, it is going to be shown over here. If I simply try to display control C again, okay, control V, okay, and I just given the value here num of 0, 1, okay, control S, and will again try to execute this. Again try to execute this, we can see. See 0, 0, it is showing like this one. Okay, so that is what the default value. But now I want to assign the value. So how I can do? I know that. Yes, I can write like num of 0 is equals to, I can specify the 10. Similarly, num of 1 is equals to, I can specify the 20. Okay, like that one, we can just have num of 3 yes, num of 3 is equals to, okay, we just have to specify it as a 30. Then we have just num of okay, we have put specified the 3. I just missed the 2, so I will write here 2 is equals to, not necessary that will must be in the sequence. So num of 2 is equal to 40 and the num of 4 must be there. So I just writing here num of 4 is equals to, I just specified a 50 like this one. So in this way I have put it the value. Now you can try to display like this one. You can try to display like this one very simply like this. So you can see, okay, so 10 and 20 value is been displaying like this one. 10 and 20 value like displaying like this one. So this is how we can do. This is how we can do. We can access this separately like this one. Okay, but if I want to access it, if I want to access it through the loop, I can write like this one. For in a bracket, integer I is equals to 0, I less than num dot length, we can say. See, it is coming like this. Length, okay, then I plus plus, okay, and then about to this, I just write a sys out, okay, and then and here num of simply I can say I. So if I return like this one, you can see time is finished. So if it is cutted, it's okay. We can continue tomorrow. So you can see the output is showing like this. So rest of the part you guys can try by your own. Okay, we'll see it tomorrow. Any question?